a dog mayor, a talking cat, and other bizarre historical events you won't learn anywhere else. Body. California was once terrorized by a giant rodent that would snatch dogs off the streets and devour them. The beast was never caught, but some believe it might have been this thing. And don't get too close because this dog is not real. This is no ordinary canid. Its fur is standing on end to reveal its true demonic nature. This creature has 6 legs and a truly terrifying set of chompers. Locals claim that at night they could hear it squealing while carrying off its prey. At first, people thought these were just coyotes, mountain lions, or maybe bears. But these attacks kept happening even after the local wildlife had been wiped out. One day, a man named Sam Trabucco decided to take matters into his own hands and hunt the beast down. He tracked it to an old mine shaft and then threw a rock at it. Whatever was inside the tunnel didn't come out again. Eventually, the town forgot about their furry little nightmare. But there have been reports of a strange-looking dogman ever since. Some say he still lurks in the tunnels under Bodie, and others say he walks among us as a human by day and turns into a canine monster by night. This story comes from the same state and around the same time period as another strange story about a man who went missing on a camping trip and left behind a talking cat. Maybe the cat was trying to tell us what really happened to its owner. In 1984, 2 friends named Andy and Dennis went camping in the woods of Northern California. Dennis brought his pet cat named Midnight along for the adventure, but the trio didn't stay together long. After only one night, Andy woke up and found Dennis and the tent gone. He called out for his friend, but all he got in return was a weird meow. Then Andy saw something unbelievable. Midnight was sitting on a log and she looked like she was crying. She also seemed to be talking to Andy, telling him to follow her. Curious, Andy did exactly that. The cat led him deeper and deeper into the forest until they found a small clearing. In the middle of the clearing was a shallow grave, but it was empty. Apparently, Dennis's body was never recovered, and some believe that his friend may have had something to do with his disappearance. Was this cat a witness to a crime, or could she talk? In 1785, London was plagued by something supernatural. The city's most elite were being attacked by invisible assailants. They were blinded and beaten without any warning. Luckily, someone was there to help. And no, it wasn't Sherlock Holmes. Meet John Henry Dighton, the man who could see ghosts. He was hired by Lord Onslow to find the person responsible for assaulting him. Dighton was successful, allegedly finding the culprit. But when the authorities tried to arrest the perpetrator, they realized something terrifying. He was already dead. Not only that, but the man had been dead for 20 years. How did Dighton know this? Because he could see ghosts. He could also tell where buried treasure was hidden. And he used these skills to amass a fortune. Once he discovered a chest full of gold coins and then turned around and helped the police capture a gang of counterfeiters. Despite his many accomplishments, very little is known about Dighton. Some believe he was a criminal mastermind who made up his ghost-seeing abilities. Others think he was the victim of syphilis, which could explain the strange things he claimed to see. After hearing those stories, you may start wondering if anything good has ever happened. Well, how about a kingdom ruled by a pig? Long ago in 15th century Scotland, there lived a large war pig named Robina. These pigs were bred to be fierce and vicious, and this one was the biggest and meanest of them all. One day, the king went hunting and accidentally shot his own brother. With the royal family line now extinct, it was up to the kingdom's nobles to pick a new leader. They chose a wise woman named Catherine Douglas. However, she couldn't rule alone and needed a regent to take care of official duties. So they asked Robin to be her deputy. He accepted and became the first ever swinish sovereign. Pigs had been domesticated for thousands of years before this, but this was the first time they held political office. Queen Catherine was said to be a benevolent ruler, while King Robin took a more heavy-handed approach. He liked to eat cheese, and if anyone got in his way, he'd bite them. Have you ever seen a jellyfish fall from the sky? In 1961, residents of Oakville, Washington witnessed exactly that. It was a clear summer evening when dozens of these translucent blobs rained down from the sky. At first, the locals thought it was squid, but these were definitely not from the sea. Years later, scientists finally solved the mystery. They learned that a flock of Canada geese had been flying overhead. When the birds flew over Okanagan Lake, they ingested some planula larvae. These are the early stages of jellyfish life. And when the geese migrated, they dropped the jellyfish off all over Washington state. Experts say this must have been the largest migration of jellyfish in history, but we won't know for sure unless we see it happen again. While jellyfish raining down from the sky isn't exactly pleasant, it pales in comparison to this next disaster. Imagine a meteor strike, an earthquake and a tsunami all happening at once. Well, you wouldn't need to imagine it because it actually happened in 1883. It was the deadliest natural disaster in recorded Indonesian history. On August, a massive meteor struck the earth near the island of Sumatra. This caused a massive earthquake that generated a gigantic tsunami. Entire villages were wiped out as waves as tall as houses crashed over the land. It took days for the waters to recede, leaving behind a path of total destruction. As if that wasn't bad enough, a second meteor hit a few weeks later, causing another tsunami. This next event makes us wonder if the universe is against cats. In 1375, a cat was put on trial in the Swiss town of Basel. The black feline was accused of being a heretic and plotting against God. To make things worse, the cat supposedly confessed to the crimes. But how does a cat confess to being a heretic? Well, apparently it meowed, quote, "I am a heretic and will remain one." This outraged the townspeople who had gathered for the spectacle. They pulled the cat's tail and claws out and then burned it at the stake. This wasn't an isolated incident either. Throughout history, animals have been put on trial and sentenced to death. Cats were especially vulnerable during the Middle Ages. If someone accused you of witchcraft, your pets would often be the first ones to go. If they didn't confess to being witches themselves, they were treated the same way. And sometimes they even gave testimony against their owners. One cat was reportedly put to death for licking its owner's hand too enthusiastically. After all, why else would a cat lick their owner unless they were trying to poison them? This next bizarre event will make you question everything you know about animals. It was April 11, 1816. A group of tourists were taking a ride in a horse-drawn carriage when suddenly they heard a loud crack. A bolt of lightning had struck a tree and split it in half. No big deal, right? Well, the trees weren't finished making mischief yet. As the carriage passed by, something fell on top of it. The travelers stopped and climbed out to investigate, and they saw something that made them run away screaming. The branch that had fallen on the carriage was alive. And no, it didn't grow roots and start crawling through the forest. Instead, it started dancing. It jumped and jiggled in a most unnatural manner and even tried to hitch a ride on the carriage. The tourists eventually got away, but this tree continued to party. It was spotted at several other locations doing the exact same thing. Some say it was a trick of the light, while others believe it was a magical tree possessed by some kind of spirit. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. For more videos of crazy historical events, stay tuned.